This is a tutorial on how to create a cartoon using Gimp. So first of all, you will have to create a layer, and the first layer is the background, and the name is there for you, so you do not have to name each layer for yourself. And then you will have to create another layer, which is where you're going to start drawing your cartoon. Choose the paintbrush and then choose the hard brush, which is this big one here, and try play with your sizes as well. Now remember to take your time, because it is more difficult to draw on a computer than it isn't to draw on paper. Of course, if you have other devices, it will make it easier for you. So I'll just start drawing carefully what would be a lantern. And so remember to take your time, because it is, of course, time that will determine if it is a good quality drawing or not. This is just a basic tutorial, so it is not the greatest quality it could be. Now, the first layer, you can afford to make some sloppy mistakes, like some lines here and there, because for the next step you will create another layer, and this is very important. First, you can erase whatever it is that you want, but the next layer is the one that will enhance your drawing, and so you can make a mistake here and there on the first layer. So you create a new layer right there in that corner, and that new layer has to be on top of our old layer. And then the old layer, you'll have to lower the opacity to 50%, because the opacity is out of 100, so it's basically 50%. And it'll look like this. Now, this is why you can afford and make a bit sloppy. Now, this layer is basically your second draft. Now, you'll try and make a better apple, a better lantern. It all depends on your drawing. So you see, this is the sketch I have. It's a little bit better than the old one. Now, of course, you have to be slow and steady, because it's a very different drawing again in a computer. Now the next step requires for you to create again another layer. But first, you have to delete your old layer, which is the one that has the lower opacity. And here you have your new layer, which is better than the old one. Now you will create another layer. This layer is for coloring, and so you create it again in that corner. Click OK. That layer will be in between the background and the sketch layer, and here you can get creative again. You choose your own colors, your own size for your paintbrush. Here you can choose the size, because it really doesn't matter if you paint out of the lines, if you might say, because you can erase. And the point of making another layer is that you can color on top of the sketch and you do not lose your outline. So this is very great advantage because you can simply erase without erasing your basic drawing. Now here it is, the final draft, you might say. Now, the next step is adding color, adding shades and light. So what it is you don't have to do this typical adding white to make it look like light. So there's a tool for that too. Now you have to create a duplicate of your layer this time. And this duplicate will allow you to make smudges and burns. And this duplicate will be on top of your old layer. Now here you have to choose which is going to be the part of the light and which is going to be the shadow. The Gimp tool creates light and shadow. The dodge creates the light. As you can see, makes lighter colors. And the burn tool creates a shadow. And now you can see the dodge, and so I'll put some light in part of the apple, well, where the light hits the apple, so it looks a bit more realistic, if you might say. So here it is, and be careful to use it in a single run, because if you don't, you'll get some weird white places like that, and that's not what we want. Now you can enhance that again with another tool, but it's preferable for you just to do it once and for all. And so be careful of those white parts that might stay. Create the lights and shadows that you want. Now for the burn tool, we'll create shadows. And so you add shadows where you think there would be shadows, and that'll depend from where the light comes from. Now, in this case, it's really easy because the source of light is pretty much determined. Now you choose where to put it in. Now you use the blending tool, which is that one by the dodge and burn, and you might select a fussy brush because it's better and it works better to blend the colors. And so you just start blending in. Now be careful not to blend out of your drawing because that can happen, and you just blend in inside. It's just like when you're drawing on paper. You just have to blend inside, not outside your drawing. If you do it a sloppy job, it will create basically a mess like this one over here. Now, this is the base pieces of the cartoon. Now, there are a lot more tools that you could use, but this is basically it. If you want to make a cartoon, you just need shadows and light, colors. You can use any other types of brushes as well. But if you wish also to color your background, you can as well. So you just go to your background and you choose any color. This is a table, so I'll just choose blue, whatever it is. And again, the magic of the layers is that you can color on top of whatever. So I can color on top of the lantern and it won't color the lantern. I can color on top of the apple, it won't color the apple. And you just color on top, and it's actually not coloring on top because it's another layer. And it's important to use the different layers because the different layers make this type of drawing a lot easier.